The aim of this lesson is to analyse the rubric for Advanced English Module B, Critical Study of Texts. The knowledge and understanding developed will assist Year 12 students with their study and essay writing. The rubric states this module requires students to engage with and develop an informed personal understanding of their prescribed text. The three key words here are informed personal understanding. Your own interpretation or personal understanding of the text needs to be the foundation that you build your essay upon. So read the text and then read it again and read it again. This personal understanding needs to be informed, so you also need to read what critics have written about the text, preferably across a variety of different times and contexts. I'll cover critics in more detail later in the video. The next part of the rubric is vitally important. Through critical analysis and evaluation of its language, content, and construction, students will develop an appreciation of the textual integrity of their prescribed text. You're being asked here to make a detailed examination of the elements and structure of the text, and to judge it. What is your personal opinion of the text? The rubric acts as a guide for your note-taking and study. Make notes as you're reading about how the language expresses ideas and feelings. Make notes about what is being said in the text. In particular, focus on themes, ideas, arguments, actions, or stories that explore the human experience. Finally, construction. Please, please, please don't forget about the form and structure of the text in your essay. If you're aiming for a Band 6 response, and you should be, you need to make sure you address the language content and the construction of the text. The HSC exam committee used the rubric to devise the exam question. Therefore, in order to do well, you need to know the rubric back to front, and you need to have a range of textual evidence that will allow you to respond to any question that the committee devises. I'd recommend that you highlight the keywords in the rubric, as I've done. Use these keywords as headings. Then find quotes or examples that fit under each of these headings. When the exam question comes out, devised from the language of the rubric, you have a series of quotes that fit the question, no matter what the question is. In the same vein, it's a really valuable exercise to identify what the key idea is of the text. I get all my classes to do this for every text they study. In order to identify the key idea, ask yourself what the text teaches you about the human experience. The next step is to find the quote that epitomizes this idea. This key idea is closely linked to the composer's purpose, which informs the choices that he or she makes in regards to, you guessed it, language, content, and construction. The overarching concept of this module is textual integrity, so we definitely need to define it. Textual integrity is the unity of the text. Its coherent use of form and language to produce an integrated whole in terms of meaning and value. In order to do well in your essay, you will have to weave analysis and evaluation of the text value and significance into each paragraph of your essay. The next sentence in the rubric states, they refine their own understanding and interpretations of the prescribed text and critically consider these in light of the perspective of others. This sentence directly asks you to read criticisms of your text. There are a variety of different places you can find these criticisms. Your school or university library, JSTOR, Google Scholar, etc. When you find an essay on your text, it will have quotes from other critics. You can then go and search for these other critics. You need to be like a detective as you're reading these critics' essays. You're on the hunt for ideas that affirm or challenge your own understanding of the text. I think you should also be on the hunt for great words to use in your own essay. English teachers like words. And guess what? The people marking your essay will be English teachers. Again, in this vein, I'd recommend that you have a glossary for every module and area of study. Hopefully I'm talking to some fresh-faced Year 12 students just about to embark on their Year 12 studies. Again, I encourage my students across all year groups to squirrel away good words or phrases when they come across them. For your HSC, some of these words will work across a variety of modules. For example, zeitgeist. Hello, Module A. Just make sure that you don't overuse any word in your essay. It's not good writing. Find a synonym instead. It's essential that your personal understanding of the text dominates the essay, rather than the perspectives of the critics you have read. In the essay, you need to consider and test how your interpretation of the text fits within these perspectives. Again, I think it will be valuable to organise what these critics have said about the text under your keyword headings: language, content, construction, etc. Don't have large quotes from critics in your essay. Instead, understand what their ideas are about the text. Then, articulate how these ideas affirm or challenge your own understanding. You need to weave this analysis of critics' perspectives into each of your body paragraphs in the essay. The final sentence in the Module B rubric returns to our old friend from Module A, context. It states, students explore how the context influences their own and others' responses to the text and how the text has been received and valued. Context is the range of personal, social, historical, and cultural conditions in which a text is responded to and composed. In Module B, we're particularly interested in how context influences the perspectives of respondents from different times, cultures, and societies. I like to distill each module down into a single sentence. For me, Module B is, what is your interpretation of a timeless text? Again, I think this exercise is useful and you may come up with a different tagline for the module. Clearly the HSC committee believes that your text has value and significance. That's why they chose to include it. However, I believe the great beauty of HSC English in its current incarnation is the opportunity for students to present their own understandings and their own evaluation of a text. You may not believe that the text you have studied has textual integrity, and your HSC exam gives you an opportunity to present your case. I'd encourage you to check out the markers' feedback from last year's HSC. I've attached a screenshot of some of the feedback from the 2015 HSC. For Module B, the markers provide feedback on each text, so I'll leave it up to you to go to the Board of Studies website and check it out. The feedback gives you a really clear idea of the components of both strong and also weak essays. I'd also encourage you to check out examples of Band 6 essays. Obviously, the exam committee aren't going to ask the same question twice. What you are looking for in these essays is structure. How are they set out? And, like any criticism that you read about your text, you're looking for interesting ideas and language. When it comes to preparing for your exam, my suggestion is to write a generic essay with a planned structure and practice adapting this essay to different questions. I'd also suggest practicing writing responses in different forms, such as diary entry, letter, etc., just in case you get thrown a curveball in the exam. Regardless of the form, you want to be able to integrate your textual knowledge of the text into your response. I also suggest working with your classmates to go through the rubric and devise as many different essay questions as you can. You want to be aiming to write an essay of about 1,000 words, and I think a generic essay is your best bet to achieve coherent quantity. However, you must answer the question, so this essay needs to be adaptable. The structure that I recommend is to have an introduction that outlines your thesis, and then has 2 or 3 sub-theses, ideas that support this central thesis. Make sure you are using the language of the question and the rubric in your introduction. In paragraph 2, explore how the context during the text composition shaped the key ideas that the composer was articulating about the human experience. This paragraph provides a good opportunity to discuss the composer's purpose and the audience. In paragraph 3, examine how the construction of the text contributes to the meaning discussed in the previous paragraph. Evaluate how the form and structure contribute to the text's textual integrity. In paragraph 4, examine how the composer's use of language in the text contributes to its meaning and value. Finally, conclude by linking the question to how the language, content, and construction work together holistically, and end with a statement about what makes, or doesn't make, the text timeless for you and other responders. And that's it. You've made it. Again, you are spoilt studying Module B because the texts you are going to study are amazing. It's hard to choose what text I would like to study / teach most. Hamlet? Or Jane Eyre? Or 60 Lights? Or In the Skin of a Lion? Or Cloud Street? Or The Seagull? Or Citizen Kane? Or the poetry of T.S. Eliot? Or the poetry of Christina Rossetti? Or the poetry of W.B. Yeats? Or A Room of One's Own and Three Guineas? Or analyse some amazing speeches that have changed Australia and the world? I hope you really enjoy whatever text you end up studying. To recap the main points of the lesson, I'd encourage you to read and reread, watch or rewatch your text as many times as possible. Find the key idea or theme of the text, which will be linked to the composer's purpose, and find the quote in the text that best exemplifies this central idea. Learn the rubric, and use the language of the rubric in your thesis, sub-theses, and topic sentences. Have a planned structure for your essay to make sure you analyse rather than just describe the text. Read the HSC markers feedback from the previous year and learn from past students' strengths and mistakes. So as the orchestra music begins to play, the final thing for me to do is to wish Year 12 students all the best with their studies and exams. Thank you so much for watching.